How's it going? Welcome to February. Well, today we're going to do a Valentine's Day show. I know it might be a little sappy, but I am a little bit of a romantic at heart. I've decorated. We have some lilies and dead roses for all the rock and roll chicks out there. But this isn't going to be your typical best of love songs or the sappy, lovey songs of whatever. This show is going to be Valentine's Day themed, but it's going to be me professing my love to a certain band. And the show is called I Love Black Mountain. So, I'm professing my love to Black Mountain. Now, if you don't know who Black Mountain is, I've talked about them several times on the show. I've showed their albums a few times. A couple shows ago, I did a best of 2016. And their album was number one. It was my favorite album of 2016. I listen to this almost every day. I mean, it is that good. And this was called album 4. Just real simple. Album 4 got to be album number 1. So, but let's step back a bit. Let's talk a little bit about who they are and what I'm going to show you. I've got 15 albums by Black Mountain and members of Black Mountain, side projects, bands before Black Mountain formed, and bands that are still going on parallel to Black Mountain. So, I've showed a few of these before, and some of these I haven't. So, hopefully you'll stick around and watch, and you can have some fun. So Black Mountain formed from another band called Jerk with a Bomb. So Jerk with a Bomb kind of shed its skin and got a few new members, and they call themselves Black Mountain. So let's step back a bit. Who was Jerk with a Bomb? Jerk with a Bomb is Stephen McBean and Joshua Wells. Stephen McBean is a guitar player and a vocalist. Joshua Wells is a drummer. Back in the 90s, they lived together, partied together. They were in another band called Ex-Dead Teenager. They formed Jerk with a Bomb, late 90s, and they had 3 albums. The first one was called Death to False Metal, which I don't have. I've looked for it. I can't find it anywhere. It's not even listed on Discogs, so I don't know if there was just a really small run of them and, only a few people have these. So if anybody out there has one or comes across one, let me know, because I am looking for it. But their second album is called This Old Noise. And they sound, you would think Jerk with a Bomb is more of a punk band, by the name of their band. But it's almost like it's mellow rock and roll with a folk tinge. It's the embryonic stages of what Black Mountain was going to be. I mean, they're kind of weird, a little bit paranoid in their lyrics, but it's not crazy, weird skate punk or anything like that. It's very nice and mild and listenable music, but it's not a classic folk record either. So their next album, this was 2001. Death and False Metal, by the way, came out in 99. This one, 2001. And then their next one, Pyrokinesis, came out in 2003. Now on this one, they actually got another member. And that member was Amber Weber, who they found from a band called Dream on Dreary. Now, do I have that album? Yeah, it's in the mail. I have it. It just hasn't, it's been weeks and it hasn't gotten here yet. So I was really hoping to show that tonight, but I'm not going to be able to. And I haven't listened to it. I think I might have heard a song on the internet, and it sounds really good. But, what can you do, right? So, they got her from Dream on Dreary, and she sang a couple of songs for some background vocals in Jerk with a Bomb, Pyrokinesis. Well, I guess they were getting kind of bored with the project. Stephen McBean was, and he wanted something new. So they wrote a song called Black Mountain, and they did some demos, and it ended up being their first album, Black Mountain. They McBean, Joshua Wells, Amber Weber, and then they got Jeremy Schmidt and a bass player. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. And they made this album. This is their debut. Now, this particular one is a deluxe version, the 10th anniversary deluxe. So it has a lot of extra stuff, some remixes, a lot of good stuff that wasn't on the original. It's very beautiful, kind of that stone marble cut. But in the end, with the songwriting and a lot of the musicianship, it was still kind of a jerk with a bomb album. It had Joshua Wells and Stephen McBean. They were still pretty much at the helm and the leaders. But by their next album, in the future, the rest of the members were writing more and inputting more, and it actually became more of a cohesive band, at least to these ears. This is where they started to flourish and really became Black Mountain, the Black Mountain that I know and love. Now, the first album is good, but they just hadn't made that jump yet. This album here, it's a double album. Got a really trippy gatefold. Trippy cover. And they make really good use of the sides of these albums. They're all filled up. You know, a lot of double albums these days only got maybe 2 songs on it. The only side is side 4 only has 1 song. And one of these songs, Bright Lights, on side 3 is like 17 minutes long. So, I mean, you know it's good, druggy, stoner, psychedelic, spaced out rock and roll. And it's fantastic. And this is the album that really caught everybody's attention. Can't remember if it was Pitchfork or who it was, but they were writing a lot of... There's a lot of reviews written about that album, and that was the year 2008 that I kind of got into Black Mountain. 2010 came, and we got Wilderness Heart. And, you know, this wasn't as chunky or as psychedelic as in the future. The songs were shorter. There were 10 songs, but I think they were still more of a cohesive band. I think everybody was putting in more as far as songs go. Good album. Probably, I don't know, out of the 4 albums, maybe my 3rd favorite. The first one is my least favorite, to be honest with you. And In the Future is my 2nd favorite, and of course, this one is my favorite. Now, between Wilderness Heart and 4, in 2012, they put out a soundtrack album called Year Zero. And it's got 9 songs on it, 5 new ones, and 4 previously released ones. For example, the 17-minute long song that I spoke of earlier called Bright Lights, they've cut it down to 13 minutes, and they've kind of mixed everything together, and it's this really nice psychedelic mix of music. It's real nice, actually. This is a good album. The movie, I don't know much about. They said it was some type of a dystopian, apocalyptic surfer movie. Could be wrong on that. I haven't seen it. 2016 came 4. And I know I've showed this probably 3 times in this video alone, and I've shown it maybe twice before. And I'll probably show it again, because this is a fabulous record. And if you haven't listened to it, you know, I wish I could buy everybody this record. That's how much I love this, and I think that you guys would like it. So, that's actually, as far as Black Mountain goes, that's their output. Now, they've got a couple of EPs that I don't have, some singles, stuff like that. And maybe I'll try to be a completist one of these days and buy them. I really don't buy singles. I mean, if I have the song on an album, I'm satisfied. But you never know. So, right around the time that Black Mountain was starting up, Stephen McBean started a side project. I don't know if he just started two projects to see which one would take off or which one would be more popular, but his side project was Pink Mountaintops. And it's got a few of the same people. Actually, it's got a revolving cast of people. I mean, if you look at everybody that's played on the Pink Mountaintops albums, there's tons of people. There's dozens of people. So he doesn't really keep the same band. He just, people come in and play. They do songs, and it's not a cohesive band. It's basically the main staple of Stephen McBean. I want to show you something. The back of this album, which is Black Mountain, is the cover of this one, which is just Pink Mountaintops. See? It took me a while. One day I was just like, they look really similar. I don't know why it took me so long, but it is. It's just more pinkish, and it has some graphics on it. Now, the Pink Mountaintops are a little different than Black Mountain. They sound more like the first album, and they're really good. I mean, for what they are, they don't soar as psychedelic as Black Mountain does, but they're nice. They're sleazy. They're druggy. They're really good street albums. Just really good rock and roll. This one here, they've got Bad Boogie Ballin', Sweet 69, Tourist in Your Town. Tourist in Your Town is an interesting little song. You almost feel like you've heard it before. And I don't, but I'm trying to think if maybe somebody else had written it and they performed it, but I think that they did. It looks like all the songs are written by them. So that was the first Pink Mountaintops. The second one, Axis of Evil, which is my favorite. I mean, this has got comas, co-criminals, new drug queens, slaves. I mean, everything on here could be a hit. This is a fantastic album. So, Pink Mountaintops, Axis of Evil. And there was a third one, excuse me. There's four altogether, by the way. Pink Mountaintops, Outside Love. This is my least favorite. It's okay, it's got its moments, but there's some parts that sound kind of like a bar band, or even worse, like a really bad alternative band from the 90s. Now, those moments are kind of about half of the album. The other half is really good. But this, I don't know what was going on. The songwriting, the singing just was a little off on this album. I didn't enjoy it. Doesn't mean that you won't. And I have never even looked at reviews. The reviewers may have said this is the best one. I don't always agree with the reviewers. But my least favorite, but still listenable, and I do listen to it. Then in 2014, they came out with this one, Get Back. Now, the album cover is very strange. Actually, I'm a weird guy when it comes to records, man. Sometimes I won't buy a record because of the album cover, and I almost didn't do it. I mean, it just seemed weird. And it is weird, but anyway. The album itself, about every song on here is fantastic. I mean, we're talking just you want to listen to over and over again and just hit repeat. This is a fantastic album. There is a misstep, though. And a lot of folks do complain about it, and it's called North Hollywood Microwaves. That is the name of the song. where Stephen McBean is singing, it sounds really good. I mean, it could be a great song, but he's got another singer, as a female singer. I can't remember her name at this moment. Kind of rapping over it. She's not a rapper. She's kind of just talking, singing, and it sounds really twee-ish. And what she's saying is pornographic. I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's just very weird, and it kind of just ruins it. You know, it's like taking the Mona Lisa and spray painting all over it. It was a good song, but really, I don't want to focus on that because you can always skip it. So, this is a great album. This is probably my second favorite one by the Pink Mountaintops. Now, one of the things that makes the Pink Mountaintops, Black Mountain so good is their keyboard player, Jeremy Schmidt. And he has got a solo band called Sonoya Caves. He's got a couple of albums. One is only on CD. I don't have that. But the other one is called Beyond the Black Rainbow. And if you watch a lot of these blogs, you've probably seen this album. This is an essential album, especially for the electronic people who like electronic music, or soundtrack people, because this is an electronic soundtrack album. And it's for a film called Beyond the Black Rainbow, which I actually did try to watch once, and I passed out. I think I always do. I always say I'm watching a movie or something and I never make it through it. Well, this was another case. I mean, maybe it wasn't that compelling, but this music is very compelling. And he himself even said he kind of, his template was John Carpenter soundtracks. I think this is better than John Carpenter. It's more spacey, more Floydish in a way. But if you get a chance, Sonoya Caves, Beyond the Black Rainbow. Essential. Now, as Black Mountain kind of went on hiatus over the years, because the first album came out in, 2005? It's 2016. They only put out 4 albums. So band members had to find other things to do, other vehicles to tour with. Well, Amber Weber and Joshua Wells formed a band called Lightning Dust, which I've got a couple of there's 3 of them, and I only have 2. The other one I'll probably pick up one of these days, I just haven't gotten around to it. So I'm thinking, what is this, the second one? So I think this is the second one. And what's it called? I don't even know what it's called. Infinite Light. And it's pretty good. Compared to the other one I have, it's not as good. The lyrics are a little bit, they don't suit Amber as well. I mean, her singing is gorgeous, but it just seems a little off. I can't tell you what it is. And their third album, which is called Fantasy, Lightning Dust Fantasy. Now this knocks it out of the park, as far as I'm concerned. It's a good use of electronics, great use of her voice, the songs are better, the lyrics suit her more, in my opinion. Well, that was 14, folks. We got 1 left. As far as professing our love here, we're almost finished. Now this is a project called Grim Tower. The album is called Anarchic. The album is called Anarchic Breezes. And it's got Steve McBean on it, the leader of Black Mountain, the focal point of a lot of these bands, and another individual. What's his name? He's a bass player, been around for a long time. Ahmad Wasif. I don't really know much about him, but they got together And this is labeled as a death folk album. This was something that I kind of picked up late last year when I was researching them, and it just kind of popped up under Steve McBean's discography. And I was like, I hadn't seen that one, so I picked it up. Discogs is great, by the way. I mean, if you just go to your local record store to find stuff, you're not going to find that big wealth, the big library of music that you would on Discogs. They have everything that you want, whether you want to pay for it or not. It's pretty much there. I say that, and then earlier I said there was a Jerk with a Bomb album that wasn't there, but they've got almost everything out there that you would want. So I just went on Discogs and I found this. It's a good album. They call it Death Folk. Side 2 is better than Side 1. Is it essential? No. But if you're a completist, then I would probably pick this up. Grim Tower. Now, Steve McBean has another band called, I think it's called Obliterations, and it's kind of a really hardcore, it might just be called hardcore, but I like to add things like a hardcore thrash death metal where there's a lot of screaming and yelling going on, and I don't dig it. I like metal, give me a Metallica or Iron Maiden, but when they're screaming to the point where you can't understand, I just don't like that. Nothing wrong with it, just not my taste. So when it comes to those albums, I probably will not pick those up. I just will just pick up stuff that I'll listen to. So that's it. That was my Black Mountain video, the I Love Black Mountain. And I truly do. Maybe next year I'll have another band where I can profess my love to. But happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And I hope you and yours have a great day, and we'll see you next time.